If you're already 70 years old, how should you live the rest of your life? We live in an era where people are living to 100. That sounds wonderful, doesn't it? But here's what worries me. Too many seniors are trapped by the obsession that they must live longer at any cost. Think about these questions for a moment. You want to eat something delicious, but you force yourself not to because it's unhealthy. Your body aches, but you push yourself to exercise anyway because you think you have to. You keep taking pills that don't seem to help just because you're afraid of dying. Does this sound familiar? We've been told our whole lives that after 70, we should avoid unhealthy foods and stick to strict health routines. But here's the shocking truth. Once you turn 70, most of these rules do more harm than good. Today, I'm going to share 5 changes that happen to every single person after 70. These aren't possibilities, they're certainties. And the number one change? It controls whether you spend the next 20 years living independently or lying in a hospital bed. Studies show that 99% of people over 70 experience these 5 changes, no matter how rich they are, no matter how healthy they've been, no matter what they do. But here's the good news. Once you understand these changes, you can work with them instead of fighting against them. So today, I'll reveal all 5 changes and exactly how to handle each one. Please hit that like button and subscribe. Your support helps us keep making these videos. Now let's start with change number 5. Change number 5. Your sleep architecture collapses. Once you hit 70, your brain literally rewrites how you sleep. And I'm not talking about waking up earlier or needing less sleep. I'm talking about a complete collapse of your sleep quality that affects every single hour of your day. Helen Martinez is 73 and lives in Denver. She told me, "I go to bed at 9 p.m. I wake up at midnight, then 2 a.m., then 4 a.m. By morning, I'm exhausted, but I can't fall back asleep." Does this sound familiar? Research from the Sleep Research Society shows that after 70, your brain produces 70% less deep sleep. That restorative stage where your body repairs itself, strengthens your immune system, consolidates your memories, it basically vanishes. Your brain's melatonin production drops 15% every year after 70. That's why you're wide awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, even when you're completely exhausted. And here's what's really happening. Your circadian rhythm shifts forward by 2 to 3 hours. Suddenly, dinner at 4 p.m. makes perfect sense. You're ready for bed when everyone else is watching TV. Scientists call this advanced sleep phase syndrome. Your brain's master clock starts running on a different schedule because of changes in light sensitivity and hormone production. The real problem? Your sleep becomes incredibly fragmented. The average 70-year-old wakes up 15 to 20 times per night, though you might only remember a few of these awakenings. Robert Williams followed his doctor's advice. He tried to force himself to stay up until 10 p.m. He'd lie in bed, frustrated, unable to sleep. The stress made everything worse. Within 6 months, he developed chronic insomnia. So what do? First, stop fighting your new schedule. If you're tired at 7 p.m., go to bed. Your body knows what it needs better than any clock. Second, keep your bedroom temperature between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body's temperature regulation changes after 70, making you more sensitive to heat during sleep. Third, get bright light exposure within 30 minutes of waking, preferably sunlight. This anchors your new circadian rhythm. Fourth, avoid all screens and bright lights after 6 p.m. This helps trigger what little melatonin production you have left. Dorothy Patterson tried something different. She embraced a split sleep pattern. She sleeps for 4 hours, wakes for an hour of quiet reading, then sleeps another 3 to 4 hours. She told me, "I stopped fighting my body. Now I feel more rested than I have in years." The key is this. Accept that 8 straight hours of sleep is no longer your reality. Work with your new sleep architecture instead of constantly fighting against it. But while you're adjusting to these sleep changes, something even more dangerous is happening inside your body. Change number 4. Your body's thermostat breaks down permanently at 70. Your body's ability to regulate temperature doesn't just decline, it fundamentally breaks, leaving you vulnerable to both heat and cold in ways you never experienced before. The hypothalamus, that tiny region in your brain responsible for temperature control, loses about 20% of its thermosensitive neurons by age 70. This means your body literally can't detect temperature changes accurately anymore. This explains why you might be freezing while everyone else is comfortable, or why a slightly warm day leaves you feeling completely drained and dizzy. Your sweat glands decrease in number and efficiency by up to 40%. This makes it incredibly difficult to cool down once you get hot. Heat stroke hospitalizations jump by 300% after age 70. At the same time, your blood vessels lose their ability to constrict and dilate properly in response to temperature changes. Your body can't shift blood flow to warm up your extremities or cool down your core the way it used to. The subcutaneous fat layer under your skin thins by about 30% after 70, leaving you with less protection against cold temperatures. This explains why that winter chill seems to penetrate right to your bones. The scariest part? Your body stops sending clear warning signals. Studies show that people over 70 often don't feel thirsty even when dehydrated, and don't shiver effectively when cold. 2 critical survival mechanisms simply disappear. Frank Chen is 74 and lives in Seattle. Last winter, he spent an afternoon working in his garage. The temperature was 45 degrees. He didn't feel cold, so he kept working. By evening, his core body temperature had dropped to 94 degrees. His wife found him confused and shivering. He spent 3 days in the hospital, recovering from hypothermia. Frank told me, "I had no idea I was that cold. I didn't feel it at all." So what can you do? First, keep your living space between 68 and 74 degrees year-round. This might seem warm in winter and cool in summer, but it represents the narrow comfort zone your body can handle. Second, layering becomes essential. You need to be able to adjust quickly because your perception of temperature can shift multiple times throughout the day. Third, hydration takes on new importance. Set hourly water reminders. Aim for at least 48 ounces daily, regardless of whether you feel thirsty. Fourth, install thermometers in multiple rooms. Rely on objective temperature readings rather than your unreliable internal sensors. Barbara Lopez is 72 and lives in Phoenix. She now exercises indoors during summer, keeps her home at exactly 72 degrees, and always carries extra layers and water when she leaves home. She told me, "I don't trust my body's signals anymore. I trust my thermometer." Yet as challenging as temperature regulation becomes, it pales in comparison to what's happening inside your digestive system. Change number 3. Your digestive system enters permanent slowdown mode. The day you turn 70, your entire digestive system shifts into what gastroenterologists call presbyesophagus and presbycolon. Fancy terms that basically mean every part of your digestive tract starts moving in slow motion. Permanently. Your esophagus loses up to 50% of its muscle coordination. Swallowing becomes a conscious effort instead of an automatic process. That feeling of food getting stuck? It's not your imagination. Saliva production drops by about 40% after age 70. Since saliva contains crucial digestive enzymes that start breaking down food before it even reaches your stomach, this means digestion becomes harder from the very first bite. Your stomach produces 30% less acid after 70. This might sound like a good thing if you've dealt with heartburn, but this acid is essential for breaking down proteins, absorbing vitamin B12, iron, and calcium, and killing harmful bacteria. The real crisis happens in your small intestine. The finger-like projections called villi that absorb nutrients shrink by up to 25%. Researchers call this malabsorption syndrome, and it affects virtually everyone over 70 to some degree. Your pancreas reduces its enzyme output by about 40%. This explains why that favorite meal that never bothered you before suddenly leaves you bloated and uncomfortable. The large intestine becomes particularly problematic. Transit time increases from the normal 30 to 40 hours to sometimes over 100 hours in people over 70. This leads to chronic constipation that affects 60% of this age group. Edward Thompson is 71 and lives in Boston. He told me, "I used to eat anything. Pizza at midnight, no problem. Now a single slice at dinner and I'm up all night with indigestion." So what's the solution? First, eat smaller meals every 3 to 4 hours, rather than 3 large meals. Each meal should ideally contain no more than 400 to 500 calories. Second, chewing becomes critically important. Aim for 30 chews per bite to compensate for reduced saliva and help break down food mechanically. Third, consider adding digestive enzyme supplements with meals. Many people find relief with broad-spectrum enzymes taken 15 minutes before eating. Fourth, probiotic foods become essential. Fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi help maintain gut bacteria diversity. Consume them daily. Fifth, fiber strategy completely changes. While you need it for regular bowel movements, too much can overwhelm your slowed system. Gradually increase soluble fiber from foods like oatmeal, bananas, and sweet potatoes. Ruth Anderson is 73 and lives in Minneapolis. She switched to 5 small meals a day, chews thoroughly, and eats yogurt every morning. She told me, "The bloating stopped. My energy came back. I just had to work with my body instead of against it." But as your digestive system struggles, an even more serious change is occurring in your sense of balance. Change number 2. Your balance system undergoes irreversible deterioration. Starting exactly at age 70, 3 separate balance systems in your body begin failing simultaneously. Researchers call this a triple threat to stability that makes falls not just likely, but almost inevitable without intervention. Your inner ear's vestibular system contains tiny calcium crystals and fluid-filled canals that detect head position and movement. By age 70, this system loses about 40% of its sensory cells. Your brain receives confused or delayed signals about where your body is in space. The proprioceptors in your muscles and joints decrease in sensitivity by up to 50%. These specialized sensors tell your brain where your body parts are without looking. This explains why you might miss a step or misjudge distances you've navigated perfectly for decades. Your vision's contribution to balance drops dramatically. Contrast sensitivity decreases by 60%, and depth perception weakens by 40%, making it harder to see edges, judge distances, and detect obstacles. But the real disaster happens in your brain's integration center. The processing speed for balance information slows by up to 70%. Even when your sensors detect a problem, your brain can't coordinate a response fast enough to prevent a fall. Your ankle strategy weakens dramatically. The small muscles around your ankles lose 40% of their strength, and your ankle flexibility decreases by up to 50%. The psychological component compounds everything. Fear of falling actually increases fall risk by 30%, because anxiety causes muscle tension and reduces the fluid automatic movements necessary for good balance. Carol Mitchell is 72 and lives in Atlanta. Last spring, she got up from her chair to answer the phone. She felt dizzy, took 2 steps, and fell. She broke her hip. 3 months of recovery, 6 months of physical therapy. She told me, "I never thought it would happen to me. I was always so steady on my feet." So how do you combat this deterioration? First, Balance training must become as routine as brushing your teeth. Stand on one foot while turning your head. Close your eyes while standing. Do reaching exercises to challenge your visual spatial integration. Second, try dual task training. Perform balance exercises while simultaneously doing cognitive tasks like counting backwards or naming animals. This mirrors real life, where you need to maintain balance while thinking about something else. Third, Tai Chi has emerged as perhaps the perfect balance intervention for people over 70. Studies show it reduces fall risk by up to 45% because it combines slow, controlled movements with weight shifting, mental focus, and social engagement. Fourth, environmental modifications become non-negotiable. Remove throw rugs. Install grab bars not just in bathrooms but along hallways. Improve lighting, especially on stairs. Create clear pathways free of obstacles. Fifth, footwear becomes medical equipment. You need firm, non-slip soles, low heels no more than 1 inch, and secure fastening. Many podiatrists recommend wearing supportive shoes even inside the house. Patricia Davis is 74 and lives in Chicago. She does Tai Chi 3 times a week, installed grab bars throughout her home, and wears supportive shoes at all times. She told me, "I haven't fallen once in 2 years. My friends keep falling, but I'm still steady." And now, we've reached the big one. The change that affects absolutely everything else. Change number 1. Your muscle mass enters catastrophic decline. At exactly 70 years old, your body triggers what scientists call sarcopenia overdrive, a biological self-destruct sequence where you lose muscle mass at a rate of 3 to 5% per year. This means by age 75, you've lost up to 25% of your remaining muscle. And this isn't just about looking frail. This is about losing the very tissue that determines whether you can get out of a chair, climb stairs, or live independently. The shocking truth that researchers discovered is that after 70, your body literally starts eating its own muscle for fuel, even when you're eating adequate calories. This happens because of a phenomenon called anabolic resistance. Your muscles stop responding to protein and exercise the way they used to. Your satellite cells, the stem cells responsible for muscle repair and growth, decrease by 70% after age 70. When you damage muscle through normal activity, it simply doesn't rebuild. Permanent losses accumulate day after day. The type 2 muscle fibers, the ones responsible for power and quick movements like catching yourself from falling or standing up quickly, disappear at twice the rate of type 1 fibers. This explains why simple tasks like opening jars or getting out of low chairs become increasingly impossible. Your motor units, the nerve muscle connections that control movement, die off at an alarming rate. Each lost motor unit means dozens of muscle fibers that simply stop working forever. Your body doesn't create new ones to replace them. The hormonal catastrophe makes everything worse. Testosterone drops to nearly undetectable levels in men. Growth hormone production falls by 80%. Inflammation markers increase by up to 300% after 70, creating a catabolic state where your body is constantly breaking down muscle faster than it can build it. The mitochondria in your muscle cells decrease in number by 50% and efficiency by another 30%. This means your muscles have 65% less energy available for any activity. This explains that crushing fatigue that hits after minimal exertion. Protein synthesis slows by up to 60% after 70. You need to consume far more protein than younger people just to maintain muscle. Research shows people over 70 need at least 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. The really terrifying part? Muscle loss accelerates during any period of inactivity. Just 10 days of bed rest after 70 can cause the same muscle loss as 2 years of normal aging. And recovering that lost muscle becomes nearly impossible due to anabolic resistance. George Harris is 71 and lives in San Diego. Last year, he got the flu and stayed in bed for 2 weeks. When he recovered, he couldn't walk up his stairs without stopping twice to rest. He told me, "I lost more strength in 2 weeks than I had in the previous 5 years." So what can you do to fight this catastrophic decline? First, protein timing becomes absolutely critical. You need 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at each meal to trigger muscle protein synthesis. Spreading protein throughout the day works better than loading it all at dinner. Second, leucine becomes your best friend after 70. This amino acid found in eggs, chicken, and dairy is the specific trigger for muscle protein synthesis. You need at least 3 grams per meal to overcome anabolic resistance. Third, vitamin D becomes crucial. Deficiency affects 75% of people over 70 and directly causes muscle weakness and accelerates sarcopenia. Studies show supplementation can improve muscle function by up to 20%. Fourth, resistance training remains effective even after 70, but the approach must change. Focus on compound movements. Use lighter weights with proper form rather than heavy weights that risk injury. Fifth, timing of exercise matters. Morning workouts, when your cortisol is naturally higher and your anabolic resistance is lowest, show better results. Sixth, recovery periods must extend significantly. Allow 72 hours between training the same muscle groups compared to 48 hours for younger adults. Seventh, maintaining muscle after 70 requires eating like an athlete. Consume protein immediately after waking. Have a protein-rich snack before bed to prevent overnight muscle breakdown. Never go more than 4 hours without protein during the day. Linda Foster is 73 and lives in Austin. She eats 30 grams of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She does resistance training 3 times a week. She takes vitamin D supplements. She told me, "My doctor can't believe my muscle mass. I'm stronger now than I was at 68. Understanding that this muscle loss is happening to everyone helps remove the shame and frustration. This isn't about being lazy or weak. This is about fighting a biological process that nature programmed into every human who reaches 70. These 5 changes aren't possibilities or probabilities. They're certainties that await every single person who reaches 70. Your sleep architecture collapses. Your body's thermostat breaks down permanently. Your digestive system enters permanent slowdown mode. Your balance system deteriorates irreversibly. Your muscle mass enters catastrophic decline. But knowing about them transforms them from terrifying surprises into manageable challenges. You don't have to accept these changes passively. You can adapt. You can prepare. You can fight back. Work with your new sleep schedule instead of against it. Monitor temperatures objectively instead of trusting your broken internal sensors. Eat smaller meals more frequently. Practice balance exercises daily. Prioritize protein at every meal. These aren't cures. These are strategies. Strategies that can help you maintain independence, quality of life, and dignity for the next 20 years. The difference between thriving at 70 and suffering at 70 isn't luck. It's knowledge. It's preparation. It's accepting reality and working within it. If this information opened your eyes to what's really happening after 70, please share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment telling us which change surprised you most, and subscribe so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching. Remember, aging might be mandatory, but suffering through it isn't.